The next crisis will happen. History tells us it is not a matter of if, but when. It won't arrive with a thunderous roar. It starts with a whisper, a hairline fracture in the foundation of global trust. Deep within the shadow networks of international finance, where trillions move at the speed of light, the pressure is building. Our world is more connected than ever before, yet these very links are what make us most vulnerable. The question that keeps the architects of our economy awake at night is simple, yet terrifying. Where will the first domino fall? Will it be the sudden, spectacular collapse of a global titan we once thought was too big to fail? Or will it be a slow, silent erosion of trust that hollows out the system from the inside? The signs are already appearing for those with the clarity to see them. The pattern is emerging. Prepare for the shift. The countdown to the next global upheaval has already begun.
In 2008, the world stood on the edge of a precipice. For decades, the global financial system was seen as an unbreakable fortress. But beneath the surface, the first hairline fractures began to appear. It didn't start everywhere at once. It began in the shadows of the housing market. Just one place. One bad bet that would trigger a global chain reaction. And then, there was a moment of silence before the collapse. It spread like a digital wildfire, crossing borders in milliseconds. Panic moved faster than any government or bank could respond. Trust, the very soul of the economy, evaporated overnight. A hard lesson in the price of connectivity. A world changed forever. In our modern financial landscape, the single biggest risk we face today is debt. It starts with national governments accumulating burdens that span generations. It spreads to corporations, fueled by a relentless drive for expansion and leverage. Ultimately, it consumes entire economies, weaving a complex web of global liability. Across every sector, we are borrowing more than ever before in human history. But at some point, the momentum begins to stall, and the weight becomes too great. That is when the pressure builds until the entire structure reaches its breaking point. And then come interest rates. When rates rise, the world changes. Everything depends on the balance. Everything becomes heavier. Every loan, every market. Loans are the lifeblood of our growth. Mortgages became the anchor of our dreams. Markets, the pulse of our existence, is now erratic. What was once stable is now in question. Everything becomes fragile in the wake of change. And in many places, the foundations are beginning to crack. Assets are stretched, pushed to their absolute limits. Real estate, a global market built on a precarious ledge. The markets are under pressure. The weight of expectation is becoming unbearable. Prices have been pushed too far, beyond the reach of reality. We are approaching the tipping point, the silence before the storm. When confidence drops, everything changes. They fall. The descent is unforgiving. Fast, momentum takes over where logic once stood. And then, there is only the silence of the aftermath. Crises don't start randomly. They ignite in the shadows. They start where the system is weakest, in the fractures of the global economy, where oversight is thin, where pressure builds. Beneath the surface of bull markets, the tension is mounting, where trust begins to fade. Credit is the lifeblood of our world, but trust is its soul. When one wavers, both fail. The warning signs are often silent, a sudden shift in liquidity, a whisper in the dark. History doesn't repeat, but it certainly rhymes. We've seen this pattern before, yet we look away. The question isn't if the system will break, but when the final thread will snap. And when it does, the impact will be felt everywhere. No border is strong enough to contain it. The countdown has already begun. And when it starts, it's a whisper, a single missed payment, a shadow on the ledgers. It doesn't stay contained. It spreads, moving at the speed of thought across digital borders. Through banks and markets, our pillars of stability become the conduits of collapse. Panic is the only currency left, logic replaced by the herd, selling at any cost. Through confidence, the glue that holds the world together dissolves. Trust is now a luxury, faster than expected, safeguards bypassed. The contagion has no master. A single crack becomes a chasm, a localized tremor turning into a global earthquake. Invisible threads fray. Interdependence is now our greatest vulnerability. Wealth evaporates. Trillions gone in the blink of a cursor. The system is purging itself, leaving only the silence of the aftermath. And the hard question, what comes next? So the question is not if, but where exactly is it starting, and how fast it spreads. The cracks are beginning to show in markets once thought unshakable. Capital flows like water, seeking safety where none remains. From the trading floors of New York to the tech hubs of Shanghai, the shadow of debt looms larger than the institutions built to contain it. We've seen this pattern before, but this time, the scale is different. In the silence between trades, the very architecture of our economy is shifting. National borders offer no protection against a contagion that speaks the language of code. Every signal, every trade, resonates through a network that never sleeps. When the first domino falls, the momentum becomes unstoppable. Preparation is no longer an option. The storm is already here.